Welcome to Christ Culture, the podcast. I'm your host, Kiana, and I'm so excited because we have special guests today. We got the girlies in the house. What's up, girlies?
Hey.
Hey. So we have a very interesting topic today, and next week the guys are going to be talking, but today we got the girlies, and we are talking about relationships. We're adding on to our last episode that we had for our event, and we're getting a little juicier today as we are with each other. So let's just go around the table, introduce yourselves, let the people know who we are.
Hey y'all, I'm Tay. Boom.
I am Brianna.
I'm Hallie.
Yes, you guys, these are my sisters. Like, we just met probably
A month, 2 months?
yeah, like not even that long
October.
ago, less than 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I already feel like a really strong connection with all of you guys.
For real. Yeah.
I definitely feel like you guys are family, you guys are sisters, and I also feel like we've known each other this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So without further ado, let's just kind of like, I'll break the ice. I guess I'll break the ice. We're talking about relationships today. And like, even on the last episode that we had, it's like not just romantic relationships, but maybe even today, if that's what we want to focus on. Hey, we want to focus on it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I guess we can kind of start with our current situations, circumstances where we're at.
Okay.
I am currently single. I'm in my single season. And I'm choosing to thrive in it.
Love that.
Finding new ways to like learn about myself and dating myself and getting to know a new light that I never actually like saw before. So it's actually kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Tay, what are you at in your life?
I am currently in a happy relationship
Come on,
of
thriving.
4 years. Yes.
Aw.
We actually met in college at HBCU, Virginia Union University.
Shout out.
So yes, we are healthy. We are living, loving, learning, of course. And yes.
Yeah. I am also in a very happy relationship. We met in college as well. And it's kind of crazy. We went to the same high school. We didn't know each other. We didn't even know each other. Went to the same high school until we met. And then we met, and he was literally a street over from me. I was on 44th Street. He was on 43rd Street. And we did not know each other. And then we met, and then everything was nice. And yeah, so that's that. With that.
I would say I'm in a situationship
Okay.
right now. Don't even know what to really call it. It's going.
Yeah. It's going.
It's going for sure.
Is it going well or is it just
Going.
Feeling it out. It's been like
okay?
3 months. Used a dating app, Hinge, and we've been talking ever since. So like since September. So yeah,
Okay.
pretty fresh.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Cool.
Yeah.
Coolness.
So I want to talk more about relationships because I feel like even us being here, like we all represent different parts of culture or society. Even like even my experience as a single person is different from yours as a relationship. Like you in a relationship, and like obviously y'all's choose relationships are completely different.
Yeah.
And then also representing like people might have situationships. That's very real. I feel like everybody around are in different states of their life. So anything that we experience can also like talk as a testimony to those type of people.
Yeah.
If you had one message to give somebody in an opposite situation than you, so say I'm single, would I give maybe not advice, but a message that you would say to somebody in a relationship? For me, so maybe for you guys, for single people, or maybe for you people who I don't know, maybe just people who are in situationships, right? What would that be?
Yeah. Great question. I think just like being single, just like not like knowing what you want, like in whatever you're looking for, and then like holding yourself to the standard of like receiving that person. And just like, for me it was like I really wanted a godly man, of course, and just like, what can I do to kind of attract that type of man, and what standard am I holding myself to, and just like carrying myself. And I very much care about the way I present myself and just like how I carry myself. So I think just working on yourself, to be honest, and just like being faithful that God will provide that person in his own timing and accepting it when it comes.
Yeah.
That's so real.
I would say if you know the type of person that you want, write it down on paper.
Ooh.
And then align yourself with that person that you want. That way, it would just be easy for them to come to you. So, yeah.
Keyword there, you said like for them to come to you.
Yeah.
I think as ladies, that's a really big thing. We kind of talked about it last time of like the feminine, the masculine, whatever. But like I think as ladies, like we need to, one, you need to pinpoint like what you want, because for you to just be like, oh, I want somebody, you could get any type of person,
any type of person.
Right? But like being super intentional about what your standard is, and then allowing it to come to you, I think is really powerful. Hallie, did you have anything?
Yeah, I think like me being in a situationship, it's like I'm also learning about myself, and I think that's really important with dating in general. Like I'm just figuring out what I like, what I don't like, and what I want in a man, what I don't want in a man. And so I'm currently learning that right now in the situation that I'm in. So
and I think like you're never gonna stop learning about yourself, even when you're with that person. Like that person will bring out a whole nother side of you that you never understood or that you never experienced. So it's just like being open to learning about yourself and like inviting that other person in to also learn about themselves and learn about this version of you with yourself.
I think that's huge. That's one thing I was actually going to talk about. It's just like in relationships, it is a continuous like learning process. So just knowing that like I'm always going to evolve as my own character, and I can't expect this person to just stay the same the way that I met them. Like they're always going to evolve too, and I would want that for my person. Like I don't want you to stay stagnant, you know. But with that, there comes friction, because like I am constantly having to relearn this person, and there might be things that they're learning that I'm like, I don't really like that, and you kind of have to choose to be like, okay, how do I deal with that then? Do I like tear them down or like ruin their progress, or do I root them on and like adjust my ways to like kind of how they're changing? Right.
And I think that comes down to communication.
Like just communicating,
all that stuff, which for me personally was kind of difficult to do, because I'm just not used to, you know, speaking up about certain things and just kind of like, oh, it's okay, you know, like, or just like, you know, it's fine, I love you, so it's okay. But just like speaking up about certain things and just like saying it with love and not like talking at that person, but talking to them and being able to have a conversation, just like in full transparency is really big.
I think that's important too. Like another thing that I have learned about myself in like previous relationships is that like as soon as I see something I don't like, I'm like, okay, no, like I can't do that. And I was quick to do that.
Cut it off.
Cut it off real quick. Let it go real. I'm like, okay, no, you do that, then no, it's a no for me. But it's like I have started to learn everyone has flaws. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect myself. So I think with not just the situationship, but just relationships in general, like people aren't perfect, and I needed to realize that. I think it's big to bring into my future relationships as well.
I think that's really big on like dating culture today too, because we've gotten to a point where we're as a culture, I think, so protective over our like peace and my healing, where it's like if anything disrupts me, like I have to cut it out.
I don't want it.
I don't want it, right? And I think that robs a lot of people from a lot of things that they don't even realize are gonna bless them. Because it's like this one moment of discomfort that I feel like kind of triggered by. I'm gonna release it and let it go. But sometimes it's like you need that little rattle up to get to that next step.
For growth.
You know, like I think there are certain boundaries that need to be set, but like some people just be like, oh, absolutely not, cut it off, and like don't even address it, don't communicate, and like I think that hinders a lot of people, especially like the dating scene, right?
Especially our age too, because everybody like, I don't know, I guess everybody wants to set their boundaries, but no one wants to leave space for wiggle room.
Right.
Everybody like, oh yeah, he's 6'4", he has to be 6'4". I want him to have $6,000. But ma'am, relax, he might be 5'9". With 7,000, it's okay.
For real.
Talking about communication, I guess really talking about my relationship, girls. What was something that you struggled with in communication in like the beginning or even currently, and how did you get over that, or how are you still working through it?
For me, it would be handling problems right then and there.
Look at him on.
He's like, yeah. What? So yeah, like just like something, if it would bother me, I would put it off. I'd be like, all right, whatever, I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it. But I'm learning, this is bothering me. Let's talk. Like I'm learning not to hold my tongue just for the sake of my relationship, because it got to a point for me, not so much my relationship in general. I would hold my tongue for like little things at work and with family. And it was like I was losing my voice.
Ooh,
So
that's deep.
yeah. As a woman, you never want to lose your voice.
No,
ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had the same issue. Just like not bringing things up right away, because I like to, like, when something bothers me, I want to like kind of reflect on it before I speak. And sometimes I let that reflection just turn into like silence, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just reflecting, but like like I'm just mad, and then maybe won't say anything, and then that kind of piles up, and then one little thing will happen. I'm like, Julian, like get on him for nothing, like, and then one thing is just like majority of the time he knows when I'm feeling some type of way, so it's just like then he's feeling this energy that I'm bringing to the relationship and that I'm bringing into the situation, and it's just like it's never good. So just like you said, just speaking up and just saying whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment, or just being vulnerable and all that stuff is very.
I think we had gone to dinner yesterday, and I was like, my situationship is in North Carolina, so I think communication is really important, especially for a long distance relationship. So like with us right now, like I guess I'm still trying to learn his love language. I guess we can go into love languages now. I'm still trying to learn his. Like I don't know if he's completely grasped mine yet. So I think that is really important, of understanding each other as well, like communication and that balance, and how you receive love, how I give love. And I think that's just really crucial.
Understanding. Like communication is one, but understanding is like what seals it together, I think, because you could talk about it all the day, and like if that person's not comprehending to like adjust, then it's like, what's the point of talking?
Like you're talking to a brick wall.
Right. Do you guys feel, as you're communicating, like I think as women, like us becoming more okay with being vulnerable, how important is your partner's role in that opening up?
Great question. I think just creating like a safe environment where you feel safe enough to do that. Just like knowing, like as women, or just like it's not the easiest thing to kind of let your walls down and like give all of yourself to somebody. So it's just like, having that safe space where you're just like, okay, like this is it, and just like, I don't know, just trusting that that person will create it for you, and that even if you do like say what you're saying and they say like something that you don't like or doesn't, completely just lost my train of thought, sorry. But just like if that person is the right person, they'll create that safe space for you, and if they don't, then then you kind of like
red flag.
I mean,
and even with that, like as they should be creating or working to create that safe space for you, you should also be able to create that safe space for them, especially as your significant other, because they go out all day, work, school, etc., all these other stressors. They should be able to come back into the relationship and be like, let me take a breath. This is what happened. Let me exhale. Right. So
That's so funny you say that, Tay. Like I literally was telling Keanu yesterday, he's in North Carolina, and I think Calvin had mentioned this in like another podcast previously, and I think he was referencing The Basement, Tim Ross, shout out. And he was like, being vulnerable is your superpower. And I love that quote, and I sent that text to him, and I was like, hey, like being vulnerable is your superpower. I know that you aren't comfortable, or like being uncomfortable and being vulnerable with me, but I want to let you know that like I'm here for you. And I reiterate that to him every once in a while when I can tell through text, like, hey, something's off. Like I like to reiterate that to him. So I mean, just me, maybe it's my feminine versus masculine coming out, but like I'm here for you. And I think that's very reassuring for people.
I think a relationship should just be somewhere where you feel safe to just kind of break down and just be your truest, like whatever self, and just being able to have that safe place in both roles and both everything. And that's not just even relationship, like boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. That's any relationship that you have and you bring into your life.
Friendships.
Just to be yourself. Feel
A good
free.
friendship / relationship is when you can be ugly with somebody and they don't see you as ugly. They actually see you more beautiful. Like if you're like ugly crying, you're like boo-hooing. You're like, oh my gosh, let me like help you or like take care of you. It's like, well, what do you mean? Like, no, you're beautiful. I love you. It's like, you know, like
Mascara
that's
running.
real. That's real love right there. That's real.
Even when I told Yuki, I was like, oh my God, like I had something to tell you when we like first met, like the first meeting. And I was like, I just let my guard down and told you like everything.
And I
I
appreciated
just felt
that.
so comfortable.
I
and
appreciate that. You know, like I think half of vulnerability is not like, is this person going to be able to receive what I'm telling them? But it's also like, am I going to be brave enough to open up about what I need to share right now? Can we talk about that for a second? Like the bravery of being bold in who you are. Because I think that helps in our relationships too, because like if relationships say are 50-50, it's half me, half that other person, whatever, or even like 100% me, 100% that other person, how do we show up as 100% even if we feel like we can't be vulnerable? Like how do we become more vulnerable to be that 100%?
I would just, I don't know, just trust yourself. I guess have faith in yourself that the outcome will be positive.
Yeah. And I think like you said, a relationship is 50-50. And I think, you know, we've talked about this before. Just like sometimes if I'm feeling upset about something, like the relationship is 50-50, but if I'm feeling upset, then, you know, I expect, you know, it might be 70-30 for this like one situation. But next time if you bring something up to me, it might be like, you know, 20-80, whatever. But it's just like at the end of the day, you give some and you get some.
Yeah.
And just like having that balance and, you know, trusting, like you said, just trusting each other, trusting yourself, and just knowing like, oh, I was listening to a sermon the other day and he was just like, he said, there's nothing more powerful than a person who knows their purpose. And I think that's true in relationships as well. Just like knowing, you know, this is my person. And like, this is like the person, I'm who they need and they're who I need for this season. And just like going one step at a time, one day at a time, and just having faith that God will continue to build your relationship with that foundation.
I think patience as well. Patience is really important. I think Kiwi had talked about, we're always having conversations.
Right. We have deep conversations.
We're always having conversations. But like being able to, like, yes, you are two different people, but also being able to have that mental capacity to take on what that person's saying. I think that's really important as well, even in a partnership. Like, yes, we're together, but I need to be in that space to receive what you're saying. And I think that's crucial as well to like for communication or anything. It's super important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that also, like if we're tying our relationship with God into it, it's speaking of like posturing yourself, right? Where if I have this partner who's coming to me being like, yo, I need a vent right now. And I'm like, hey, I have already had a stressful day. I can't do that right now. You know, like you can have that posture. Or like you were saying, it's kind of like you give and you can receive at the same time, but posturing yourself like you posture with God. And I'm also talking about like God always has time for us, you know? And I think that's the selfless, unconditional love that we get an example of. But we can also, with boundary, do that with our partners, right? Like, I mean, to a point where it's not going to be overwhelming, and then like you crack down and like break down. Maybe you guys have a breakdown together. That's cute, right? But it's like, let me posture myself so like I can kind of receive what you have. I may not have any advice to give to you right now, but I could at least just listen.
Yeah.
You know, something like that I think is powerful in a relationship. Okay, let's talk about relationship with yourself. Yes. Ooh, we've talked about relationship with partners. Let's talk about relationship with yourself.
Yes.
Let me see what I have here. Can you guys think of a time when your relationship with yourself was kind of crappy? And can you think of a time when it was like the healthiest? And how did you get from point A to point B? If we're still processing it.
I'm still processing, but I feel like I know the second part more than the first. So like when I felt like at my best, like I was really valuing myself. And I was in a previous relationship And her father was a pastor, and I was not trying to get in the middle between her family and like their relationship, and it was really tough. But I felt like I valued myself more in that time. I didn't want to feel disrespected or not valued, and that's how I was feeling. And I was like, no, I'm worth more than that. Like, I deserve better than this. And even though like she ended things with me, I felt so much like relief, like that I did it for myself too.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was just better for me in the end. And it felt really good. And I found myself in this past year, like just growth wise, I feel 10 times better about my self-confidence and where I am and what I can bring to relationships. So
I love that.
Yeah,
Good for you.
absolutely.
It's the magic that activates when you choose yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
How about you guys? What do you have?
Can you repeat the
I
question?
was just about to say that.
I was saying, like, can you remember a time when you were not loving yourself the most, and then a time when you were like, okay, I actually can see myself for who I am, and how did you get from point A to point B?
I guess for me, it would be where I am. Well, when I was disconnected from God and spirit. Because for me, I like to do a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation. But there are times when I just get overwhelmed with the outside world, with like work and family and friends and school. And I'm just like, all right, I'll pray tomorrow. All right, I'll journal tomorrow. And then it becomes a pattern.
Yeah.
And a month has gone by and I just feel like crap, don't want to get up, don't want to go outside. So for me, when I get back into my routine and I'm praying more and I'm fasting, whether it's like literally not eating or with fruit or juicing, I just feel more connected to God and to spirit. And I'm able to, okay, I'm back. Like, I don't know. It's weird to explain, but it's like when I'm more connected, I feel better. I'm more confident in myself. So.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of same. Just like when you're connected with yourself and just doing these little things that kind of just make you feel better and just give you your own sense of like confidence. Just like, doing those, I kind of just like journaling, meditating, just like praying, devotionals, just little things like that, and just putting them into practice every day and just kind of giving yourself that discipline to have a relationship with God. And I feel like essentially like having that relationship with God is having that relationship with yourself, because God knows you better than we know ourselves. So just being connected with the one who made you, and then as you guys get closer, you kind of see yourself how he sees you, piece by piece, step by step. And then it's so easy to just kind of fall off from that and just be like, yeah, I am good, I don't need him no more. And just kind of like go off into your own, in your own world. And then like slowly you're just like, what happened? Yeah, just like
lost all of a sudden.
And just recentering yourself with God and just doing that is super important for me personally. Just making that time for yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
I think hanging out with you guys as well, it's literally been such a major help, like even just for my life. I appreciate every single one of you guys, even the guys back there.
The feeling is so mutual.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I feel like my life has been transformed like in the past like month or so, and it's all due to you guys getting me back into my faith and my walk. And it's just nice having a group of people who are like into the same things and want the best for you, who are genuine.
Yes.
And it's hard to find, so
Absolutely.
I really appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
That's fellowship.
100%.
We appreciate you as well.
For real.
I'm studying, or like I have my behavior change specialization, so I am studying like behavior patterns and how goals and setting new habits actually has an impact on your life, right? And so I thought it was interesting how you said like when you get out of your routine, that's when you start to feel a funk. And like that's literally what it is. So say for a workout program, right? If you download this workout app, and like we've all done it, right? You download this workout app and it has all these exercises and stuff like that. And then you're supposed to like track your days at a time. But then you log on, everything looks really exciting, and then like, you never log back on.
Yeah.
Right? And you never log back on. What happens is if the more that we set habits throughout our days, our weeks, our months, whatever it is, then we don't gain confidence just by having the idea of doing it. We don't gain confidence by just having these goals. I said, I'm going to do it. We get confidence from proving to ourselves that we can actually do it by doing it.
Yeah.
So say if I have a goal of like, I want to drink my jug of water for every day of this month.
Yeah.
I might go day 1, day 2, day 3, killing it. Then day 4, I fall off. If I fall off on day 5, then that kind of brings me back down. And then I start to be like, whoa, I skipped 2 days in a row. And like, I don't think I can actually do this.
Yeah.
But if I stay true to it and be like, okay, well, day 4, I missed it. Day 5, I'm going to get right back on it, no matter what. Then I do day 5, and then I hit day 6, day 7. Then I'm starting to build what's called like self-efficacy, which is self-confidence in you doing a task. So I think you being like, okay, if I'm staying true to my journaling, my praying, my meditation, all these habits that you already have implemented to push you up forward.
Yeah.
The moment you fall off, then it's like, I can skip it. It's fine. And then there's after effect of like, now I'm starting to feel kind of drowsy or like low energy and that type of thing, low vibration. You know, like you start to feel that because you don't have those routines in there that are built to be your life float.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a really big thing to figure out yourself in a way that you know what your habits are. Because maybe for me, it's not journaling and meditation and praying. Maybe it's for me, it's going on my walks and praising and singing in the shower or whatever it is. Like I need to find my own style. And that's really important that I stick to it because I know that's what boosts my mood.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just like the importance of knowing yourself, going back to having a relationship with yourself, relationship with God, just like knowing yourself, knowing what works for you and just like owning that 100% so you can have that discipline and all that stuff to put it into action.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah. Let's talk about self-language, how we talk to ourselves.
Ooh.
Yes, that's a great
Yeah, we're talking about
so
self-relationship, but like also how we talk to ourselves. So, can you recall a best friend that you've had in your life, whether it's a sister, a old school friend, or like even like the old lady at the park, whatever it is? Recall your best friend relationship and how your guys' conversations would make you feel.
So mine would be one situation in particular. I used to volunteer at a free clinic. So the lady there, we were going over my resume one day and she was like, oh, you've accomplished A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I was like, yeah. She was like, why didn't I know? I was like, I don't know. Just didn't bring it up. I don't know. She was like, what do you mean? She was like, you accomplished so many things, but you downplay yourself. So she was like, basically, you're tearing yourself down. And I was like, I never thought of it that way.
Wow.
Like, I should be speaking more light into myself.
Ooh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's an example of a situation. Wasn't a best friend. Was just somebody that I was working with.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Shook your world a little bit.
Yeah, I was
You're
like,
hold on.
why are you reading me like this, ma'am?
Why are you yelling right now?
Right.
Don't yell at me.
So that was my dad for me. So we would just talk about life. We would talk about our own relationships, our own whatever was going on in our own life, and just being able to come together, and we would just talk about God and just the Holy Spirit moving in both of our lives, and just make me feel very uplifted and just very filled with just like gratitude and appreciation for each other and for ourselves, and most importantly for God, and just like how he loves us fully and completely all the time. It was just always the conclusion of our conversation. It was just like, we're so blessed every time. So yeah,
I love that he was such an example that you could kind of see him as a lens through God.
absolutely.
You know, like he really mirrored God's love to you as a daughter, and then you can also like very parallelly like relate that to how God loves, you know, like your humanly father and your spiritual father.
Absolutely. We were just talking about that actually. Just like, I'm so blessed to have just like, this is such a reflection of how God sees me. And yeah, so that's so true.
Yeah.
Conversation with my coworker, love her. We go to like trivia every Tuesday. So Tuesdays like our venting, like with work and stuff like that. So shout out to her. She knows who she is. And she's like she's like the office manager, but you know, outside of work, like she came after me at my job, and she's just been so helpful in like guiding me like at work and just telling me to be confident in myself and my abilities. And I'm always talking down on myself at work and how I could have done this better and done that better. I think in a previous podcast we were talking about like conforming to like perfectionism at work, and like it's really hard and there's like a lot of pressure, but she definitely brings me down to like realistic expectations for myself.
That's
And
good.
I love that. I love her to death.
Yeah. I think the common theme is that the conversations that you have with the people that you admire or enjoy the company the most of, especially having that much love, they will always uplift you and like bring you closer to who you are as a person, which also brings you closer to your purpose, because God can't use you if you're not letting him. God can't use you if you don't choose to see your own shine.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm doubting myself or just even just like you said, downplaying myself, then how can I shine for somebody else if I'm dimming my own light? You know, I can remember a time when I saw myself very low. This was actually one of the old relationships I had, but it was a very toxic relationship. And I think I talked about this in like one of the first episodes, but I allowed certain things to happen based off the way that I saw myself.
Yeah.
And I just remember honestly being in that relationship, knowing that I deserved more, but not loving myself enough to walk away.
Yeah.
And I just remember like being so upset. I would like literally look in the mirror and like cry. Whoa, it was crazy. I like would literally just stand there and look at myself and like have a nonverbal conversation like with myself with eye contact. And I would like have conversations of like, wow, why would you let this happen? Like, why are you staying? Why you're so stupid? Why would you even be that? Like, you are those types of females that stay when they know they should leave. Like, you are that person right now. And I would just sit there and like accept that for my life. Like, that was who I was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like I really got out of that relationship that I started to see how God loves me. And that kind of changed my perspective on who I am, what I deserve, and who I am as a daughter of God, you know? So that is pretty much like who you see as me today. Where I'm like, no, like you got this. Like whatever you want, like it's yours. Like you can do it.
Speak life into yourself.
You know, speak life into yourself, because your words have so much power.
Yes.
And like anything that you're feeling in your heart, don't cover it up. It needs to be let out, especially if it's hurting you. It's like, no, I really feel trash about myself today.
Yeah.
Let it out. Let it out. I feel trash about myself. Write it down.
Write it down.
Write it down. And like maybe if I need to like write it on paper and burn it in a fire, I don't know. Like whatever it is, let it out, because what's on your heart is going to come to surface.
Yeah.
So
What
you let it come to the surface. Let it come to the surface. And then from there, know where to go to get filled up. Filled up. Like go to that best friend that's going to speak life into you. Go to the word is always going to speak life to you. Read Psalms. You know what I'm saying? Like know where to find that refill, because it's there. You just have to choose to like let it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
I was.
What I was going to say was you can say something fire.
The way you speak to yourself, the things you say manifest in your reality.
Oh yeah.
So if you say, "Oh, I'm trash," you're gonna wake up feel like trash. But if you go to sleep saying, "Ooh, I am a queen," yes, girl, you did that. Then that's what you're gonna become. So yes, something like that. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, it creates your own reality. In your mind, just like how you talk to yourself. And I think like we kind of all said it. We just like beat ourselves up and just like are super hard on ourselves and don't give ourselves enough credit a lot of times. And I think I don't know if that's a woman thing.
I was gonna say, let's talk about that. Like, why do you think that is? Because I know a lot of women do that.
Yeah.
You know, like males probably do it too, but I think as women, we don't talk enough about it.
Right.
Where we feel this insecurity or whatever it is, inadequacy, and assuming that, oh, that girl got it together, so she don't ever feel low about herself. Like we all have similar struggles, but the fact that we don't really talk about it or share it, I think, is what hinders us.
I feel like
Go ahead, say.
sorry.
I know
Sorry.
we both had.
Yeah, I feel like it stems from our childhood. You know, when we're growing up, we're taught don't speak unless you're spoken to.
Yeah.
So from then we're silenced. We can't have an opinion. You know, so it grows with us.
Yeah.
So in adulthood, we're like, oh, okay, push that to the side. But in reality, that's when we have to learn how to speak and again have our voice. So
Yeah. And I think just like society, a lot of times just kind of like, I don't know if I don't know. It's just like, just not, you know, as women, we're, I guess, second in like, as far as society to men, and just like, we're not, kind of like you said, not supposed to say those things. and not supposed to speak our minds on certain things. And and we just kind of it becomes part of us and what we do and how we move. I guess social media.
I was going to say social media. We see like relationships. Oh, I want to have a relationship like them, or oh, I want to be as skinny as them, and it's like those are unrealistic goals to have. Like, do your own thing. Not everybody. It doesn't fit everybody.
Yes.
So
I do appreciate how social media is shifting now that we are recognizing that there are different status quos, you know, like, and I can show up exactly who I am and still be confident. I think that is the coolest thing where like, I love talking about confidence, especially in like, I think it even starts from like the way that you dress. Or the way, whatever it is, the way that you express yourself, it starts with that. Because I think starting with the way that you dress is the easiest way to kind of like articulate, just because you can literally see it. But sometimes like if you're getting dressed, right? And I'm like, okay, I put this outfit together in my head, it was bomb. And then I put it on and I was like, I don't really like the way the shirt fits on my body, or like maybe these pants, if they were just a little bit tighter or looser or whatever it is. But then you realize there's like these supermodels or people who are heavy influencers and they put anything on. Like it looks like they just put it together in their own sweatshop in 5 minutes. Like there's things hanging off and they're just like walking. And it's like, wow, now I want those scraps, you know, like it's like, it really doesn't matter what you're wearing. It just matters how you're wearing it and how you rock it. And that goes for anything, you know, like I could be going with my, like, my passion or whatever, and like even if I feel like nobody else is doing it, I could be like, well, nobody else is doing it, let me do it then, you know, like having that perspective.
Yes.
Cool. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to like tap on while we have like a few more seconds?
No, I don't think
All right, cool. Well, this section of our podcast is called Questions from the Audience, where we answer any questions that you guys have, or any questions that we have in our audience here today. We do have our male audience. So this is going to be a cute little perspective. The males, the guys, are going to ask us some questions that they feel like need to be represented. What we got? What we got?
Oh, goodness.
You got a mic? No mic? I'll repeat it. Okay, great.
So how impacted your view of love and relationships?
Ooh,
Great question.
he said, how has your parents' love impacted your view of love and relationships?
For me, one big thing in my house was just like, I'm so proud of you. No matter what it was, just like the fact that you tried. I remember one time I ran for school president in like elementary school.
Come on.
But then I lost. And then my parents were just like, I'm so proud of you. Like, no, like only 4 or 5 people did that. And you were one of the people that did that. And they bought me like hot Cheetos. And, and they're just like, I'm so proud of you. So that definitely stuck with me and something I carry with me every day. Like, you did that. Like, you know, like be proud of yourself. Just that was big for me.
Yeah.
Huge.
I know for me, it has my parents' relationship. My dad has a disability, so he has muscular dystrophy, and, you know, my mom is there, and, you know, his muscles wear down over time. So I literally like the sickness and in health, like your vows. And I'm like, I want someone who's going to be there for me, like when I'm old and decrepit, and like is willing to stay by me when I'm, you know, at my lowest point. So I totally value that in their relationship, and their love conquers all things to me with what my dad has gone through. So that's what I look for in my relationships.
My mother is a giver. She will give her last if she could. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, I want you to work for a little bit. You know, I don't know. Show me you want it, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like taking that from her. Like, I can be a little more gentler with people. Not even in my relationship, but with my friends, I could be a little more gentler, give people more ease. So from that, I'm taking that. Sorry, I'm trying to process and put into words.
No, you're good.
In order to be gentle with people, I have to be gentle with myself. And that people deserve second chances, no matter what they've done or what they said. So yes.
Forgiveness is the key, because you are forgiven as well. I think for me, kind of going off what Bree said, but like my parents have always been so supportive. And even even the other day, my mom was like, "I support you even on things that I don't want to support you on, but I am rooting for you." I was like, "You know what? That means a lot. Thank you." And I think that also got me so far where I am today, because I've always had parents that were like, "If you want to do it, we're gonna do it. Then you're gonna do it, and you're gonna practice." Like my dad, I always grew up dancing. My dad was actually the dance dad. Like he was the one who like did all the rhinestones on our costumes. He sewed the costumes. He did the props. And then he was also like the one who thought he was my dance teacher, saying, "You need to get your triple pirouettes together because they look a mess." And then I'd be like, "Dad, you don't know what you're talking about." And then he learned how to do pirouettes, and he's over here trying to do pirouettes in the kitchen, trying to show me that he knows what he's talking about. But that just goes to show, like, my parents will always go 100% for us. I have 2 siblings. There's 3 of us. So like in each of our lives, they've always showed up. Any show we had, like, they would always make an effort to be there. So I've always known supportive parents, and that's helped me model like how I would want to be for my kids. That no matter what they're doing, even on stuff that I might not support them, if I see that they're passionate about it, I'm going to help them have the resources to get it done.
Yeah.
So
It's big.
What's been the toughest part of your relationship for your singleness?
what has been the
Specifically.
what has been the toughest part about the relationship status that you're in right now?
Okay, so I'll go. So, like I said, me and Iman met in undergrad, but now we're in graduate school.
Thriving.
So no one told us how hard it was going to be going from undergrad, where you don't have to pay for anything. You know, you just do your work, football, choir, whatever, to you're in an apartment. You got grad school, you work full time, go to school full time, you're learning yourself. So for us, in my perspective, that's the biggest challenge. Finding that balance for ourselves, our relationship. Yes. The transition. The transition is a challenge.
Transitions are always
Yes.
Yes. I think kind of piggybacking off that, just like you're both individuals, but you're also like together. So just like understand, kind of like what we were talking about, just understanding that like what I do isn't what he does, and what he does isn't what I do, and how he processes isn't how I process. And it's just understanding that like just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. You know, just because it's different from what you do doesn't mean that it's not, you know, not right. So just like you're both 2 different people, and just the love that we have for one another is just what connects us, and just like our values, and just like everything that means so much to both of us is where we can find, and that relationship with God, just like so crucial, I think, in our relationship. Just being able to have our own individual relationship with God, and then coming together and like knowing our relationship is built on God's foundation, and we're able to have those conversations, understanding one another, accepting one another for completely exactly who he is and who I am.
Amen.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
The toughest, I would say, is probably just patience. It's really hard right now. Like, we're early, you know, it's 3 months in. We're not like in a 5-year relationship, or like in a 1-year relationship. So we didn't even touch on this, but like the talking phase and getting to know someone, and like the hassle that kind of comes with that, or the like it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Getting to know someone new and learning their quirks and what ticks them off. So like I just think that is the hardest part right now, is the learning and having the patience to learn that other person and also communicate.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That's
Yeah.
great.
I think the hardest part in my singleness right now is accepting. I think in this part of my life, I'm relearning who I am as a person, what I enjoy, what I don't like, and accepting that this transitional phase of my life is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, like I believe that everything happens for a reason. I think that everything is intentionally planned out the way that it's supposed to be, and I have to accept that.
Yes.
And I think, to piggyback off of what I mean by accepting, I have to accept what God's will is, regardless of what I think I want / need. Because I'm trusting that He knows what's best. I'm trusting that even though maybe, I think, okay, if we're gonna be completely vulnerable, like the hardest part for me is just feeling like getting over the hump.
Yeah.
Getting over the hump. Like it's been like what, 6 months, and if you asked me back 6 months ago, I'd be like, okay, in 6 months, I'm gonna be over it. I'll be clear slate, ready to go, whatever. But like 6 months fast forward, here I am now. I'm like, dang, it still kind of hurts. Still kind of like hits the same. Like, why is it, like I catch myself having conversations with myself, like, you need to get over it. You need to like just move on. But like, that's not even me being nice to myself. Where I'm like, girl, you had valid feelings. You felt everything in the best way that you could. But just getting through that to be like, okay, this is what my season is now. And I wouldn't be able to get to know myself this deep if that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful that it did happen, because this is where I am now
Yes.
and is projecting me even further than I anticipated. Like I'm becoming more in love with myself, which is a whole level unlocked that I didn't know was like real. I'm like, dang girl, you kind of cute. I would date you. So I'm like, hey, you kind of
That's how
cute.
you have to see
Let's
yourself.
do that.
Right.
So I think just accepting that's where I am right now is probably the hardest part, because it's like, well, I want this teddy bear, and it's like, no, I got a bigger one for you.
Yes.
So that's that.
Yes. Amen.
Every male in this
The male question. Let's hear it.
when in your relationship do you become a thread feed notch?
Stop. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
What do you wish a guy would ask you but never has?
Ooh.
Whoa.
What do you wish a guy would ask you but never has? Nah.
I can pay my own bill.
Right.
Period.
We gold diggers out here, not gold diggers.
Oh.
Gold.
Yeah.
Gold diggers. Not gold.
I don't know about that one. I don't know if I support it.
Slow down. Gold. GOAL.
Yes. Period.
Thank you.
Yes.
Clarify. Everybody is clutching their pearls. Okay.
Question one was, what do we wish a guy would ask us whenever?
That you have it.
That's a good question.
This is hard.
Ooh. Yo, that's what y'all was trying to do. Trying to dump us, huh? All right.
Would you want a man like your father or better than your father?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Men don't ask that question.
They don't.
Honestly, I'm in a point where like my man isn't asking questions, period. So that's just something I need to reevaluate. But
That's not your man then. Sorry. Gotta go. That's a really great question.
That was a really good question.
Yeah.
See, that was my boyfriend. He thought he was trying to dump us up, but no, I got one for you.
Like, I got you right back.
Right.
What's something, man?
I would say I can't think of a question specifically, but just something about, I guess, the way we grew up, the way I grew up, and just like how your childhood kind of shapes who you are or who I am, and why that worked this way, and just like something along those lines. I don't know, just like what did your what happened to you as a child, or not like what was your deepest trauma,
Yeah, so
but
how
like
happened to you? So how did your childhood
kind of
shape your
who you
reality?
are? Yeah.
I feel like
Something
taking the
along those lines.
initiative to like be curious anyway, like, is super crucial and like important. Like, it should be a back and forth, not like one-sided. So
Right.
just having a man be interested in me and asking questions about myself, like, that's super important and should be like baseline, I think, for any relationship. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think one wouldn't be like simplified in one question, but definitely like a conversation of like how, and it would go both ways. It's like, how do you want to be loved? And like,
Great.
how do you not want to be loved? I think that goes hand in hand with love languages,
love it.
because it's like love languages isn't just like, okay, mine is quality time, but it's like I definitely receive quality time. And one thing I don't receive is gifts because I'm like, why you buy me this? Like, I'd rather you like want to go out and like we spend all day together. Like, even if we get annoyed, like we spent all day together. But it's like, how do you receive it and how do you also give it? I think that goes both ways in a conversation. That way you guys are both setting up like, okay, this is how I need to kind of maneuver because I know that that's how she receives it, or this is how I need to respond to him because I know that's how he actually receives that. So
and adjusting accordingly.
And adjusting
accordingly.
Yeah.
That just shows effort and, you know, how far you're willing to go, the love that they have for you.
Yeah.
For sure. That was kind of my next question. So,
what is it?
what is your love language, and if you're in a relationship, does your spouse understand that love language?
What is your love language? And if you're in a relationship, does your spouse understand that relationship?
I don't think any of us are married.
Your spouse
is married.
Your spouse. I mean, when am I? I take invites now.
So what is your love language? Say what's the
What's your love language? And does your partner understand that? Yeah.
Okay. I say my love language is quality time, and that's probably goes hand in hand with physical touch for me. I think like I didn't realize my love language was physical touch until I got into a relationship. So it's just like I think there's different love languages with like, you know, different relationships, but I think number one is definitely quality time and physical touch. And I think does he understand that? No, yeah, he does.
Like, what do you
does.
He's like, what do you mean?
What are you talking about?
He definitely understands quality time. We literally are together all the time. I think physical touch, I think he understands a little bit. I think I definitely am very touchy and all that stuff. And like when we're in public, he's not a huge fan of it, which is understandable. But like, do you love me or what? But yeah, so just I think he definitely understands it, and just like I say, I understand his as well. I think his is more of the same, so I'd say so.
So for me, like Brianna, quality time, physical touch, and food. Okay, because food. We gonna go to a new brunch spot every Saturday, okay? But yeah, it's definitely quality time. I just want to spend some time. I don't even have to be up under you. Like we could just be in the same room.
Stop sucking your teeth.
So yeah.
I would say mine is I give love by quality time. Receiving, I would say, is words of affirmation. Right now, I'd say we're struggling in that portion, so I don't think he quite understands that. And I'm currently learning his, so it's just a learning curve right now. So it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
Well, since Jesus is bae, mine is quality time for sure. I definitely love to take like designated time to be in the presence of whoever. And then I think also receiving it is words of affirmation. Like I enjoy being affirmed, and hashtag Jesus is bae. He be affirming me.
True.
He'd be like,
Period.
sis, or not sis, but like, baby girl,
Daughter.
you are the one. You're so beautiful. You're so special. No, but for real, like, definitely quality time and like me spending time in my word too, because that helps me reflect who I am. And yeah, that affirms me. So
Yes. I think that's actually when I kind of like words of affirmation. I didn't really realize I needed it as much until I got into a relationship, because I was very like, I love myself type of person, and then got in a little relationship. I was like, does he hello?
you actually love me? We've been together this whole time.
Yeah, so just that's a good one.
Yeah. Come on, love languages. Well, that wraps up our episode with the girlies, the girls room.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Good stuff.